I think it's
but
because
they were garbage.
for the PS1, they kind of like pushed the hardware to its limits to
And we changed
bring
developers.
And then what?
They changed developers after Crash Team Racing.
Yep.
Really?
It was like
I
the
didn't even
first
know that.
4. I actually enjoyed Crash Bash. Crash Bash is like a little known one. It was like a
I
a
played
party
Crash
game.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that one. But Crash Team Racing was
The second
I
Crash
liked that
Team
better
Racing,
than.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Hitting the Field. I'm your host, Kyle Briley. This week on Hitting the Field, I am pleased to be joined by Kyle Graham, Carl-Max Millionard, Chris Davis, and Nick Santiago for our first ever discussion panel. With the Super Bowl looming large this weekend, we've decided to have a sit-down, analytical, driven conversation with which our panel will lay out all the major storylines and X factors that set the stage for the big game. With that being said, let's dive into it, boys. Okay, as we get started, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the dominance the Patriots have exhibited over the NFL for the better part of the last decade and a half. Guys, do you think this Super Bowl means, what do you think this Super Bowl means for New England, and how do you think the recent talk about the rifts in the organization could come into play during the game?
All right, so I'll start off.
Thanks, KJ.
So basically, the Super Bowl just represents, does this make New England the greatest franchise of all time? Because the Steelers have 6 rings, and they tie it with them. You have a legitimate argument to say if they're the best. Obviously, the best dynasty this millennium, but I mean, Belichick, Brady, they already solidified themselves as GOAT status with their 5th ring, and I don't want them to win, but I mean, you gotta respect them.
Yeah, 7 teams have won the Super Bowl back-to-back. And only 3 teams, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, and Dallas, have won back-to-back twice. The Patriots would join that group.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the fact that Bill and Tom Brady are the only 2 Patriots that have been together as a tandem since the start of this dynasty that they've created, that kind of tells me that they've built something that's bigger than their rifts, in essence. You know, when you're losing games and you got rifts, there's this thing that happens at the end of the season where you question whether you should continue. When you're winning and you have rifts, it's one of those things where this is our family, this kind of thing happens. I look at the Lakers, and ultimately they broke apart, but every year during that stint with the Shaq and Kobe years, right around playoff time, there will be some new news story. It was Kobe saying Shaq was too fat.
Sure.
And then, you know, all these things, and they're not going to be able to figure it out. Their defensive rating is last in the league. And then they flip it on and go 15-1. When you look at the Patriots, it's kind of in that same vein. That's how I look at it when you look at their greatness.
I mean, winning cures everything. Like all the scandals that come out, they just keep winning. So we just kind of.
That's what being great is, though. That's why, like, the rifts don't mean anything. I mean, if you're a truly great team in any sport, MLB, basketball, football, the rifts don't matter. You're gonna come out there, you're gonna play your game, you're gonna win your Super Bowls, your championships, whatever, and the rifts just don't matter. That's what I think.
Yeah, like Kanye West said it best, it's family business. you can have their problems of what it is, and Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, and all that, but at the same time, winning cures everything. You can have all your problems, your beefs, or whatever in the locker room, but when you play for each other on the field, in this case, winning cures it all. They're about to get 6. Brady alone, if they win this one, is going to have 6 rings. That's tied for
the most all time.
Yeah,
you're immortalized after that.
He'll have as many as Bradshaw and Roethlisberger combined in that Steelers franchise alone. Just him alone. That's
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy like to think about it. Like I think when you look at coach, player in like, you know, any sport, I think Bill Russell and Auerbach are like, you know, the pantheon of like greatness when it comes to winning titles. But in our modern day, you'd say like Tim Duncan, Pop.
Yeah.
And to me, basketball is more deterministic. Like, you know, you can really put more of your imprint on the game, and you know, it's more of like, okay, they're gonna win the title. You know, whereas football is not quite like that yet.
These guys
Brady and Belichick
so
are about to pass what Popovich and Tim Duncan did in their careers, and they play and Duncan played till 40.
Yeah.
So to see that really makes you think like, yo, they really are. And I know this is really jumping the gun, but no team's won a three-peat, and you win this year, and you could go out in the sunset and have the greatest story ever told.
Ever. Yeah, I agree. What I think what's most interesting about the Patriots organization and what's going on now, as opposed to like the Kobe and Shaq, you know, example that you brought up, is that this feels very like layered, and that it's all the way to the top. The Kobe and Shaq those are egos, and at the end of the day, you can manage egos, but this
basketball is a bunch of egos.
Yeah,
in a locker room
but this
like
just
that.
feels like, you know, when there's problems all the way up the ladder, and you've got, you know, we've got talks of coaches leaving, you know, Patricia. If he's on his way out, then they got to find somebody to come into this so-called rift.
But,
you know, and who wants to, you know.
Charlie Weiss and Romeo Cornell, when they're at the peak, and those two are the gurus, they leave. You go get new guys. That's what they've done. They've been this rotate. As long as you got the two. To me, the concern I had was when I was hearing things directly about Belichick and Brady. If that's true, that's something they need to figure out. But if it's not, then I think shaking around the other moving parts won't necessarily be that big of a deal, because these two have done it together for so long. And they're just such a well-oiled machine.
Remember, this is Josh McDaniels' second stint
Exactly.
in New England. He's left. They won without him. He came back. They won with him. If he leaves again, they'll still can win without him. It doesn't matter who are the coordinator. It's the main gel, Brady and Belichick.
This will really be a real storyline when we all wake up on Monday and they've lost.
Yeah, if they lose,
I'll be happy. I'll tell you straight up. I will be ecstatic.
I'll be praising God the whole way through.
But until that happens, I don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
But let's get more into the game. Who do you guys have as your X factors for this game? Who do you think are your difference makers? Kyle Graham, you want to start?
Well, before I was gonna say the refs as a joke, and I started looking into it more.
It's not no joke.
But you're not.
I started looking into it more, and then I saw a stat, and it's like it's a differential between each team's like penalty wise from 2011 to 2017. During the regular season, the Patriots have 10% less more penalties thrown on them, and in the postseason, it's 35% less. And that was crazy. Like it increased during the postseason. I mean, you can say like they're just a well-coached team and they're disciplined, but like, look at the Jags game. There was one penalty throw, and that was the least amount.
Look at the Jags game.
I don't get started, but that was the least amount of penalties thrown in a game since 2011 against the Patriots and the Ravens. So,
yeah, I think this is for both teams, right? Who's your?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, whoever you got. Who do you think's gonna make the difference?
You look at when the Broncos knocked the Patriots off in the AFC. Championship game, it was Von Miller who made his impact, and the blueprint is out.
Super Bowl MVP,
right? It's rush for, press, put a spy on their running backs. To me, it's Fletcher Cox. He's got to have a monster game up the middle, and I think he can. I think he's one of those guys that in this game, even if he has like a 2-sack game and he's the one hurrying him.
Sure.
He becomes the central character in this game. And I think on the flip side, you look at the Patriots, like I said, they're going to rush 4. I think that the running backs, you can see one of those running backs having a big game. But, again, I think they're going to target the middle. You're talking about the 17th best pass defense, so you can target them. The Jags were number 2, and Brady was still out there making plays.
Yeah.
So I think look at Amendola, but don't be shocked if you see – somebody like Rex Burkhead come out of nowhere and have a monster game.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't surprise me at all.
Carl? For me, the running backs for Philly, I think they could be a huge X factor. Jai, Blunt, you got to just like the Jags did. They had the time of possession. That's key. Don't give Brady time to throw the ball. Don't have him on the field. Run the ball a lot. They were the 3rd best running team in the NFL this year, averaging over 130 yards rushing. Pound the rock. You got two good
Battering
backs.
rams.
You got Corey Clement.
Yeah, exactly.
Use him
That's
as
a great third that change
He
of
can
pace
change the
back.
pace.
He's a change of pace back as well. So keep the pocket clean. Just run the ball a lot. And then Foles will do what he does best. You give him open space. Then
It's about limiting your risk with Nick Foles, especially with those running backs. Nick, who's your X factor?
Me, for the Eagles, I'm going the X factor needs to be the safety and the cornerbacks. We know the front line needs to come up and show up, and they will. But we saw with the Jags, if Tom Brady has a little room and he can throw that ball, he's gonna get his man. So we saw with the Jags, their safeties, they gave up some plays. The cornerbacks didn't. They got the best cornerbacks in the league. So let me not say they gave up plays, but with Philly, their cornerbacks aren't. They're not the Jags. You know what I'm saying?
Nowhere near the Jags.
Yeah, nowhere near the Jags. So for real, they got to step up. This one game left in the season, leave it all out on the field. And with the Patriots, their X factor is the running game. I feel like every time they win a Super Bowl, their running game comes into play bigger than the receivers.
Philly has the best run defense.
That's what I'm saying. Like I said, this is the one game where you have to leave it all out on the field.
I mean, for me, like the obvious X factor is their defensive line. Look at the 2 Super Bowl losses that the Patriots had against the Giants. It's because their pass rush with Strahan, Jason Pierre-Paul, Tuck. So they pressure Brady, make him uncomfortable.
Thing is, though, you blitz him at all.
Well, he makes adjustments.
He gets rid of the ball so quick.
Or screens.
He gets rid of the ball so quick.
You got Dion and Rex and James White. You're going to be blitz busting all night.
The thing that's crazy is just the Patriots, their mid-game adjustments are just insane.
The second half.
The first half doesn't work, they'll find a way to make it work in the second half. And the defense is just doesn't know what to do.
If they don't have Gronk, though.
I was just about to say, here's the X factor we're not talking about. That's my Patriots X factor. Is Gronk going to play? If he plays, that changes everything.
He'll play.
Gronk is arguably the second best or first tight end in the league. It's arguable between Kelsey, him, Ertz even this year.
No, I don't think it is. I think Gronk is.
I mean, he's just such a
Gronk when healthy.
He's got to play.
He's a bad matchup.
If he does play, who do the Eagles have to answer?
Malcolm Jenkins, maybe?
Yeah, Jenkins is going to guard him. He's been guarding tight ends.
Who's the linebacker?
I got nothing for you, Chris. Sorry, buddy.
But he's Kendricks. That's all. I wanted to say that, but appreciate you.
Yeah, we got birds at church.
We've got resident Eagles experts in the room.
Before the concussion protocol, and you got with Barry Church, you saw the Jags mix it up, and then they would have a single high safety cover over the top. That's how Church ended up colliding with him. I think that's your best bet. If you go one-on-one with him, especially the Eagles don't have the personnel to do so, you're going to get torched all night. He doesn't get – Gronk isn't one of those guys that, it's 5 catches, 75 yards. No, he's 8 catches, 125, and 3 touchdowns. Like they're going to keep pounding it because you can't stop.
Yeah, exactly. Especially once they smell the blood in the water, and then they're going in for the kill.
And watch for the doggone double move, Eagles. Like even with the Vikings game, like y'all controlled it, but I saw y'all got hit a couple times, like almost like for big double moves. Like y'all been getting killed with the double move. Like and Brandon Cooks out there is like he's really fast. So you just you give him any separation and speed, like it's a wrap.
So I'm saying
the Eagles have speed too on the receiving core. Torrey Smith's a walking defensive player.
Yeah, their offense. I mean,
walking defensive pass interference.
Yeah, like literally, Torrey Smith drew
he's
so
smart.
many DPIs because he's so fast,
and he's been around so long.
Yeah, exactly. He's a veteran.
Is that your Ravens like bias?
Yeah, I think it is.
No, of course not. It was just a fact.
They go back. Him and Torrey Smith go back.
He's so fast. I mean,
the one guy we haven't talked much about is Nick Foles.
Yes.
Did you guys know that he has the greatest passer rating in postseason history with a minimum of 75 attempts?
Yeah, I mean,
how many?
75.
He had like 10 incomplete passes his first stint with the Eagles, and I think he has like 14.
5 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah. He's efficient. He's very efficient.
And he's going to have to be, especially if Brady comes out slinging the rock. They're going to have to. I mean, they're going to run the ball for as long as they can, as many times as they can. But if they fall behind at all, I mean, Brady threw the ball 62 times last Super Bowl.
Is it Foles or is it the system in Philly?
Yeah, if you look at the Giants, the 2012 Giants, probably since then you haven't seen an offense this like just smooth all across the board. You have Ertz and Burton.
Yeah.
You have Alshon. You have Aguilar, who's finally playing like a first-round draft pick. We talked about Torrey Smith. he can stretch the field. You have the dynamics. We talked about the 3 running backs. You have Ajayi, who's a little bit quicker version of LeGarrette Blount. You have LeGarrette Blount, who can get down there and give you some goal line. Maybe even though he hasn't had a great year doing that this year, this is the Super Bowl. Yeah. Then you have Corey Clement, who hasn't even been, I think, unleashed as much as he was in the middle of the season. You have him too, and then you have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Nick Foles has all the requisite tools to make the plays that needs to be made. So to me, you look at his success. People talk about that Oakland game and that Cowboy game. Reps are essential. You can't just throw a guy in there, no matter who you are, and just think that you're going to be a world beater. Yeah. You know, the hot take I saw was that, you know, it's not Wentz, it's this system and this offense. And that's a hot take because I think Wentz is really good. But if you look at this offense and just how smooth it is,
put a serviceable
you put the right guy in it and gets the right reps and give him the right plays. They've been talking about RPOs forever. Then they can be successful. And you look at Nick Foles, and he's been that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The Vikings are like what, 1 or 2 top defense in the league, and look what he shredded them. Shredded them. I mean, so
ridiculous.
I mean, he could do this to the Patriots. He's got to go in there with confidence. I mean, just slang that thing.
Just don't let your emotions get the best of you.
No, they gonna get wild. Start doing flea flickers.
Hey, that flea flicker worked though.
Yeah, you gonna do
it in the championship. It worked. So I'm just hoping it's a good game.
You think Bill Belichick's gonna fall for a flea flicker?
Every Patriots Super Bowl is a great game.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been disappointed.
Yeah.
Patriots in the Super Bowl, I mean, they'll either be cheating or it'll be a close game. Or
the refs are gonna hug Tom Brady during the huddle. You know?
Each ref got paid an extra $10,000.
I'm just waiting for them to get cocky with it, like Tom Brady, like stuff starts happening, like penalties start flying, and he just goes up to him like, you know what time it is. Come on.
Excuse me, sir.
He said that every time. He said that to the NFC Championship. Like, guys, we've been here before. Like,
no, we've been here before. Like, you know what it is.
Like, you know what time it is. You know why I'm here. You know why. You know.
Well, I guess I'm really looking forward to the game. But what I wanted to ask is, if Patricia does leave, does that spell the end of this dynasty? Let's say they lose, Patricia leaves, does Tom Brady retire?
Ooh. Nah.
I didn't even know who Patricia was before the game.
I
was like, dang, they got a new defensive coordinator. Where have I been? Like,
well, you should read up on him because he's going to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
He's about to be your new head coach.
I know he is. He's already been.
Yeah, so you should know.
I know now, but I'm just saying, like at the beginning of the year, where I see this guy with a big beard, looking like he's from Duck Dynasty, I was like, I didn't know who bro was.
But that's the Patriots organization. I mean, how many times did we say that about their running backs or?
Right, so just pick up some dude off the street who's been doing some plays.
Bill Belichick will get them in the plays.
As long as they
I think they'll be just all right.
In Belichick, they trust.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do a little prediction. Carl, you want to start us off?
All right, let's start us off.
Team, score. Let's hear it.
As much as it pains me to say this, I think I got New England 28-21 Philly. So 28-21 New England over Philly.
All right,
Kyle Graham. It also pains me, but I'm going New England 24, Philly 21.
Prove me wrong, Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, see, I'm just putting a target on their back. I'm going to make them, be motivated to win. I'm just helping them out.
Yeah, I mean, I like the motivation. I can't pick them myself. Chris, who you got?
I don't want to.
You hold Brady under 20, you win the game. I think the Eagles can do that. 24-17 Eagles.
24-17 Eagles.
I'm going to go, and I hate the Eagles. I'm a Giants fan through and through.
Who do you hate more?
I'm going. Oh, I hate the Patriots. Oh man! Shout out to the 2 Super Bowls that Eli won. But I'm going 28-17 Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly.
So
do it for the NFC East.
Y'all all on the Patriots?
No, I don't. I don't want them.
Y'all all pick the Patriots.
No, I picked the Eagles.
He picked the Eagles.
Yeah, I picked the Eagles. Yeah, I picked the Eagles.
I mean, no, the Eagles are a better team talent-wise, like top to bottom. Can you bet against Tom Brady in a Super Bowl?
Yeah, bro.
If it's not Eli,
put him on his back.
As a Bills fan, I've been brainwashed to just expect them to win because they beat my team so many times. So I'm like damaged. So I just expect them to win every time I see them play.
You should want them to lose more than anybody.
I don't want them to win.
That's the truth.
Brian Hoyer gonna be in the game.
But they knocked him out. That's the backup.
I mean, Brady's gone. They're done.
But imagine if Brian Hoyer came in and won the Super Bowl.
No chance.
All
right,
then the Bills assign him.
I know you guys don't care, but I've got the Eagles 24-17.
Hey.
I care.
I care. I'm happy.
Thanks, guys.
Yes,
I'm
let's
really,
go.
I'm really hoping for it. All right. Well, that was awesome. I really like our little debate, or I guess I should call it a discussion. Wasn't much of a debate, but I'm really looking forward to the game. I hope we have a little watch party. You guys,
definitely.
You guys stay with us. We'll be right back after the break with a little bit of Joust. Don't go away.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
Do you like sports? Do you like reading about sports? Then we got a sports blog just for you. Stay on my peripherals. That's not far. Hitting the field.
The first student-run sports blog.
For sports fans.
By sports fans.
See, it's all about the product shot.
Where do you want me to stand?
Don't talk though. I want them to see the whole.
Hitting the field. We cover football. We cover basketball. And so much more.
He's out! By sports reporters. And Meech.
What up? Watch the show and read the sports blog. Hitting
the field.
Today, when you have multiple devices at your fingertips, wouldn't it be great if you could run the software you need on all of them? Well, now you can. UCF Apps is a new and innovative way for you to access the applications that you need to get your coursework done from any PC, Mac, tablet, or smartphone. For more information or to give your input on UCF Apps, go to apps.ucf.edu. What are you waiting for? Start using UCF Apps today.
Welcome back to Hitting the Field, and welcome to the inaugural Every Man for Himself Joust. This should be interesting. Fellas, we have quite a few questions to get to, so don't be afraid to answer these rapid fire. All right, let's kick it off with the NBA All-Star Game. The teams have been picked, and there is quite a few juicy storylines that have developed because of who got picked on which teams. What are you most looking forward to now that we know the teams for the All-Star Game? Chris Davis, let's start with you.
I'm looking forward to the game itself, mostly because they said that LeBron was saying how we can get back to the competitive nature of the game.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I think, you know, giving them more incentive, the winning team gets $100,000. But also the matchups. You know, I think DeMarcus Cousins going down sucks. But I think Paul George is going to be great addition into there. And I think, you know, you're talking about when you look at the teams.
Yeah.
And I'm looking top to bottom. I'm like, you know, this is the most game breaker talent.
It's everywhere.
You have Steph, who basically broke the league a few years ago and is at the top of his game now. You got KD, you got LeBron, who's the most unstoppable force.
So you're telling me you're looking forward to the game. Nick, who you got?
I'm looking forward to, and we had a preview of it this weekend. Steph versus Kyrie again.
Ooh.
That
part 2.
Man,
I'm here for that.
That's gonna be nice. And KD versus Giannis.
That's gonna be dope.
I feel like this is gonna be one of the best All-Star games we've seen in a while.
I sure hope so.
What about the pettiness of Russ and Embiid? I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and they're on opposite teams.
Yeah.
They beef
That's going to be nice, too.
Saw last night.
He was literally dribbling the ball, staring at the bench.
That's how I be looking at my sister when they get in trouble, bro.
I'm really interested to see like the teammates. You got Kyrie and LeBron back together again. KD and Russ together again on the team.
They should just all be on the floor at the same time.
Bro, that'd be a lineup. Just throw AD on there at the end.
All right.
Don't pass the ball to each other.
Next question. Sticking with the NBA All-Star Game, the new format of the captains, LeBron James and Steph Curry, selecting the teams, got a lot of fans wondering and eventually debating which player was selected for the game, or selected last for the game? Carl-Max, we're going to start with you. Go quick.
So if it was last pick, that means it was Steph's team. So I would say last pick I think might have been Al Horford.
Al Horford?
I thought it was LeBron had the last pick.
No, he had first pick because he picked KD.
So Steph
Oh, right, yeah. So it has to be Al Horford. Yeah.
Definitely.
That's fair.
Sorry, he's.
Sorry,
Are you guys in agreement
I
here?
got something else.
Who you got?
Oh man.
Well, when they were talking on their video, they said they both laughed. So I think it was Draymond.
Ooh.
That would be funny.
Because he said that they both were laughing at the.
And did you see that comment Draymond put? I'm about to go into what's his name's office.
Yeah.
You might be right.
Slick was
Yo,
Draymond.
You might be right.
That's green on Curry. That's green on Curry, but that's your dog.
We'll have to look into it. In the world of esports, the NBA's official 2K League released the rules for its combine, where players will be able to try out to make professional 2K teams with their my players, of all things. The 17 official teams will be drafting from the pool of players who participate in the combine to fill out 6 roster spots each. Guys, is this going a bit overboard with the whole 2K? No. Kyle Graham, start with you.
I mean, I can't even get to an 80 overall. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, how do they have their own life?
Oh, they
Inside
don't.
that?
No, they literally
You can't.
stay at
You literally
home.
cannot.
The baby moms be paying for their stuff, the rent, and just play 2K
got a baby
all
mama.
day.
Stuck on a 75 overall.
No, trust me,
Nah.
they just be staying at the house. They don't have no job and play 2K all day. But yeah, I love it though. Esports is a great thing. Get money.
I mean, it's cool, but
that's dope.
Absolutely, but I mean, Chris, would you create a my player and dedicate this time?
I'd be on there killing it.
Yeah.
Talking trash and everything like I'm really on the court.
But you gotta be real though in 2K though.
Carl, see me and
Oh no.
see me in the game.
I think we're gonna have
Nick,
to
how
settle
you
the
feel
show
about
off.
it,
Nah, this couldn't be
off
me.
screen.
That's too much work for a video game. I'm sorry. Nah.
All right, gentlemen, we're moving on. A major news item last week was WWE Chairman Vince McMahon announcing the return of his XFL in 2020. The Reborn League seems like it won't be as loose cannon and as edgy as its first iteration, but the return of the XFL allows us to speculate what would be your XFL nickname. Nick, let's start with you.
I've been thinking about this all weekend. Well, you see, if I was a star player, my nickname would be Cloud God Senior. And then once I won the Super Bowl or whatever, I'd bring my son out there and he'd have a jersey that said Cloud God Jr. So it just wins for the family. That's all.
Would you put the senior on the back
Oh,
of your
of
jersey?
course.
Yeah,
He'd put Junior on the back of his.
there you go. Chris, who you got? What's your name?
Because I'm black. It would be Martin Luther X Panther.
Hey,
The hyphens.
I like
Boom,
that.
after
Black
every
excellence.
first down. I'd have
every
one
first
black
down.
glove.
You gotta have a
but
pick.
It would fit.
You gotta just pull out a pick, take off your helmet.
on the OG.
KG, what's your XFL name?
Lord.
I'm assuming I'm just gonna be a long snapper if I'm in the league.
If you're in the league, that's
So
fair.
I'm gonna get like a very generic number, like 73 or like 47, something like it's just like a really bad number, and just be like average white guy on the back.
Average white guy. Yeah.
Roll like that.
It's really all about knowing your role,
Exactly.
and I feel that
Just
you,
be like,
I
wow,
feel
that guy
like you figured
blends
it
in
out.
so well.
Oh, man.
He's doing his job.
Carl, who you got?
You already know. Just must be nice. That's on the back of the jersey. Just can say must be nice.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. Must be.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on. I guess that does just about do it for our show. Awesome. I really like this.
Yeah, this was.
I'm supposed to award a winner.
How we all win?
I think
I'll get judged, bitch.
this is hard to do because it was so, we were all so gentlemanly like
This
in
is pretty
in our
lit.
discussion. I think everybody's a winner today.
Yes.
And if we need to pick one
Participation trophies.
for Night Vision after this, you can check it out on our Twitter. Please tune in next week. We'll be right here, same time, same place. See you
Yeah.
guys next week.
What's up, Mom?
Fans,